So I'd like to call the October 19th, 2023 meeting of the Franklin School Board to order. Do we have a motion to come out of closed session?
I move that the school board, having been in closed session pursuant to a proper motion, come out of closed session.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Do we have a motion for certification?
Whereas the Franklin City School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, and now therefore be it resolved that the Franklin City School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Thank you, Ms. Council. Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion for certification signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We are in open session. Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have a motion from our closed session to approve the agenda for personnel as presented?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the personnel agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries. Roll call, Ms. Davis, please.
Ms. Boone? Ms. Council?
Here.
Ms. Parker?
Here.
Mr. McCreary? Mr. Holt?
Present.
Ms. Powell?
Present.
Ms. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. Carter?
Present.
Thank you. On our consent agenda, item 3.1, the regular minutes of our June 15th meeting is the second reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Item 3.2, that motion carries. Item 3.2, call meeting for June 26th, second reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Item 3.3, first reading of our minutes for July the 20th. We will look at those again at our next meeting, as well as item 3.4, our August 3rd first reading minutes. Superintendent's report. Dr. Carter.
Thank you, sir. Can I have the representative from WHRO, please?
Chairman Holt, Dr. Carter, members of the board, thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. My name is Bert Schmidt. I'm the president and CEO of WHRO. With me is Elmer Seward. He's my vice president of education, so if you have anything hard to ask me, I got backup tonight. I come to you every 2 years because you are one of the 21 school divisions that literally own the license to WHRO. You should have a hard copy of the annual report we provide to you. I'm going to give you just a brief summary of what you would find within that report. And I guess you're going to be my clicker. We can start going through.
Just say when.
Okay. So this is the report. You should have the hard copies. We can go forward. As I mentioned, you are one of the 21 school divisions. All the yellow there, those are all the divisions that literally own the license to WHRO. We're the only media company in the entire country owned by collaboration of school divisions. And so we come to you providing you all sorts of services. We meet with the superintendents, with school board representatives very regularly, and help do things together as 21 divisions rather than doing it 21 separate times. Go forward. So we start with eMedia VA. This is a service that the DOE has paid WHRO to do for about 10 years now. It's a service that provides digital learning objects to your teachers, your students, and your parents. They're all correlated to the Virginia Standards of Learning. There's tens of thousands of learning objects. It could be a picture, a video, audio, a game, an app, a lesson plan, anything you can digitize from K through 12, easily searchable by your teachers and students. A great and easy way to bring digital content into your classroom. Again, we've been offering this. And the beauty of eMedia VA is that, yes, there's national content, but more importantly, we have partnerships with organizations from throughout Virginia to bring the best Virginia educational content right into your classroom. So it's a great free service for all of your schools. Okay. We have three vans that come out. You know, it's hard to do field trips nowadays. It's expensive, the buses, all that. So we kind of do the reverse field trip. We bring the field trip to you. We have 3 vans that go out. These are for K through 3. We have a literacy van, a STEM van, and an environmental science van. You'll see from the pictures all the great PBS Kids characters that they know. It's Elmo and Big Bird. All the great characters come out with these vans, and they have a wonderful time. And we coordinate the lessons with your K through 2 or 3 teachers. So anytime you'd like our vans to come out, just give us a shout, and our folks will come on out and basically have a reverse field trip within your classroom with your students. Yes, thank you. During COVID, we used to go out all the time and read to students, we read stories. COVID has stopped that, but we did a Facebook program called Miss Martha Reads. Martha Razor leads our children's services program, and it started simply as a COVID thing, but it's continued because we get about 10,000 people a week that watch Martha read stories that are written and illustrated by children. This has become a very popular program. Every week we air new Facebook video every Friday. Yes. We do a lot of professional development. You can see the list there of some of the things we've done. Many of them lately have been done online because people have become very used to that. We occasionally still do some webinar trainings at the station. And the full list is in your packet. Yes. So this is a big piece right here. We have developed for you 27 full online courses. We make them and we give them to you. You use them however you want. You probably can't read it on the screen there, but the full list is within your packet. They are basically all the core courses, mostly high school, a few middle school courses. We're developing right now the environmental science course as the superintendent's requested. Then we're going to get into some data literacy courses down the road. The video I'm about to show you is focused on economics and personal finance, but could be the attributes of this course could be used for all the courses that we offer you. So here's a video that shows you a little bit about one of the courses are like for your division. You can go forward. You can play that.
WHRO's digital learning team creates high-quality, engaging content used by teachers, students, families, and administrators across Virginia. Economics and Personal Finance is a full-year online course that is one example of WHRO content utilized by school divisions. This course has 13 modules filled with videos, learning objects, content, learning activities, assessments, reflections, and more. This digital content is aligned with Virginia's standards of learning, promotes Virginia's 5 C's, and provides students with multiple opportunities to demonstrate their knowledge of materials through real-world, authentic experiences. Students begin their studies in the course overview, where they discover how to navigate the course. They also meet TJ, a high school student, and his peers who are involved in an after-school economics and personal finance club. Students learn from TJ's financial decisions and mistakes through the comedic videos at the beginning of each module. Each module has several topics or lessons that allow students to check their knowledge before receiving an assignment. At the end of each module, students either complete a project, test, or both related to all of the module topics. There's also a module reflection where students can analyze what they have learned and make connections between the content and their everyday life. The module summary provides a digest of module information and prepares students for the next module. In addition to the intriguing content, a student resources section is filled with tools to help students with assignments and projects. We also create an instructor's guide to assist the teachers. WHRO's digital learning team works diligently to design aesthetically appealing content that represents people from diverse cultures and ethnicities and provides multiple learning pathways. Additionally, our content is fully accessible and includes options for students, like using a keyboard for navigation, providing ADA compliant transcripts, printables, closed captioning, descriptive alt tags, reducing cognitive fatigue, and much more. Fortunately, our team can install our digital content into multiple learning management systems. This skill set helps us meet the needs of school divisions and provides options to use our content entirely online or in blended learning environments. Economics and personal finance is just one example of the breadth and depth of educational content that WHRO's Digital Learning Department creates and distributes to school divisions.
And so yes, while that video was specifically about economics and personal finance, we have produced 27 courses. These are full.
WHRO's Digital Learning team
Once is
creates
probably
high-quality, engaging content used by teachers,
Just go forward.
students, families, and administrators across Virginia. Economics and Personal Finance is a full-year
right-click.
online course
Well, the
that is
arrow
one
below.
example of WHRO content.
All right, it's okay. So, so these courses, we've made them. We provide them to you. You put them on your servers. You can use them any method you decide. It can be fully online, be flipped, hybrid, take elements out. You can take the courses and modify if you want to teach algebra. Oh, we're almost there. Go back one more if you would. So these are, and I have a team that can work with technology people. I have teams that work with, we have an online teaching methodology course, so teachers that want, it's teaching online is learning, different than learning in the classroom, teaching in the classroom. But we have all the experts to work with you. We understand strategies that all the divisions are using for online learning, so we can be a great partner as you figure out your online learning strategy going forward now that we're kind of out of COVID. So we love to celebrate smart kids. You're celebrating athletes today, and they're wonderful, but we love to celebrate the smart kids. And I know many of them are smart too. They're athletes. But so we have 3 different ways to celebrate smart kids. Our PBS Kids Writers Contest. These are kids K through 5. They write and illustrate stories. We have a contest judging, and they we have a whole TV show and celebrate them. The Martha Reads that I talked about earlier, the winners of this contest are what she reads. So she's reading stories of children who write and illustrate their stories. And then we can go to the next. The spelling bee we've been doing now for coming up on our 17th year. Your middle school kids, 6 through 8, compete locally. You send your winners to the regional bee at WHRO, and then the winner of the regional bee goes on to the national spelling bee. Love to see a student from here go on to the national bee. It's a big win for the whole division as you celebrate, again, these great spellers. And finally,
INGBEE.
Correct.
Each year, middle school students from across the region compete for the opportunity to represent our area in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. The stage is set and the competition is fierce. Who will take home the title of Spelling Bee champion?
Watch the WHRO Spelling Bee.
Watch the spelling bee, April 1st.
Watch the Spelling Bee April 1st at 2 p.m. on WHRO.
they're all trying to be on my TV station is what they're trying to do there. Now's the time to get signed up. Get your schools signed up, 6th through 8th grade. Have the local spelling bees, and then send the winners on to the regional bee, which will be in February. Deadline to sign up for the spelling bee in general is December 31st. Deadline for the sign up for the bee. Okay, expert said 4 more weeks. So just get signed up first, then you can do your local bees. Okay, we can go forward. Many of you may have back in the day been part of the Great Computer Challenge. We're into our 38th year. Elmer? This will be our 39th year. So I got back up. We have teams K through 12. They compete in various software programs and languages. They spend the weekend over at ODU. And for many kids, it's the first time on the college campus. So not only are they competing and showing off their great skills, they're getting the on-campus experience. And we've been doing this, again, 39 years. Some of you may have participated back in the day when you were in school. Okay. And finally, as school board members, you care about the return on your investment. Each year, and this is on page 12 of the report, each year you invest $3 per student. Last school year, you invested $2,820. You returned or received value and savings of $785,000, an ROI of $278 for every dollar invested. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Not a question, but a comment. Several weeks ago, you were kind enough to meet with Dr. Carter and myself, and we both learned that you offer a lot more services than we take advantage of. So we have several people working on some contacts with you to do that.
We are happy to come out. I will, Elmer, our team, sit down with your folks, figure out what best works. Again, these are services for you, but you're driving all the decisions and the strategy, but we're here for you. If you're successful, that makes us successful. So we're here for you.
Board members, comments?
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
sounds amazing.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thanks so much. Take care.
you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, Ms. Davis, I think we are at the soccer team.
Yes, we are, sir.
Soccer and track and field. So I would like the coaches.
The soccer team first, sir.
Well, I understand. To come up and at least explain how the season went, and then we'll have the soccer team. So soccer team come up first with the coach and explain the season, and then we also will hand out awards, or we have some gifts for you. So can I have the coach of the soccer team and the soccer players please come up to the front?
I'll hold the trophy. Good evening, I'm Coach Smith.
Coach Council.
We come together. Hey guys, back there too. I prepared something, and our other coach, Coach Council, prepared something too. He sends his regrets. He's feeling under the weather this evening. So we wanted to talk, sorry, not look at your picture, there you go. So what we want to talk to them tonight about for our season is just what we learned this year. The first thing that we learned with the soccer team this year, and we hope that we bestowed upon them last year, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Had a pretty rough start to the season last year. If you know Franklin High School sports, if it starts like this, you get that patented cafeteria meeting with Coach Gamble, which I wish he was here tonight, and you get that "We Believe in You" speech. We received that at the beginning of the season when we were 2-5, and that really turned it around for us. We really picked it up. I think we won something like 5 matches in a row, and we qualified for the district tournament as the last place seed. And we got to play Windsor High School in that game, number 1 seed for our district. I think everybody, including the number 2 seed, wrote us off. They were preparing to play Windsor, and all we did was go out to Windsor, and Ben Harrison, the little one right there, pretty much put them in their place, scored 2 goals, 1 in triple overtime. Is that correct? To win that game, to advance to the district championship game. Thank you, Gracie.
Double overtime.
Double overtime. I don't know. I was just there. But Then we fell in that game of some questionable calls, we'll call it, but I don't want to get angry about it. I already got my yellow cards for it. And that put us in the region. And I would like to thank the school board and everybody at the city. It is not a joke to say that we have the absolute best soccer field in the state of Virginia. We have the absolute best looking jerseys in the state of Virginia. We have the absolute best game day atmosphere. And for our first round of the regional tournament, they allowed us to play a night game, which is just unprecedented for high school sports to play under the lights. And that was just an amazing moment. I hope y'all take that for the rest of your lives. I don't know how many kids get to play soccer under the lights and just take it to Surrey. With that win in the first round, we had to go place the #1 team in the state. Who was that? Central Lunenburg? And all we did there was go up there in front of a huge crowd for them and beat them like a drum, 2-1. And put us in the regional championship. That game didn't go our way. We played a double overtime game, 0-0. Didn't allow 3 overtimes, they're telling me. I was just there. I'm sorry. I'm going to let Coach Council take over now so I don't talk the whole time.
So we went to a shootout in the regional championship and lost in the shootout, which was unfortunate. Then we went to states played over on the Eastern Shore, and our goal was we wanted to keep them scoreless. We wanted to have it 0-0 by halftime. We lasted 25 minutes in the first half, which was good, and we lost to them that night, but they ended up winning the state championship. So we can say we lost to the state champions, and we're okay with that. So, but our boys, they never gave up. They left it all out on the field. We were very, very happy and pleased with everything that they brought to that game. So.
Is this the first time that the soccer team has gone to state?
Yeah, that we're aware of.
Yes.
I mean, I just think that's kind of a big deal.
First time the soccer team's qualified. And what I really like about Franklin High School is we have a co-ed team. And when we come off the bus, a lot of teams kind of snicker and laugh at us. And all we do is send our girls out there and they just dominate. And so that's something Franklin High School and the whole city can be proud of, is that it doesn't matter who you are, your background, where you come from, that on the soccer field you're equal. And that's a lot of respect earned there. So we're really proud of all of our players.
All right, so Ms. Davis, now you can describe what the soccer team is getting, and if I would ask Mr. Holt to please join me and the soccer team and the coaches for photo op, but can you describe and help us organize this, please?
I was hoping that you would take at least one out.
We will, Ms. Davis. We will, Ms. Davis.
We're going to take, let's see who's next.
Julius.
So they're going to get a hat. That says FHS soccer on it.
It's amazing you picked Julius first because really, and I think everyone can admit, he really is the heart and soul of the team, coming to every practice. In 8th grade last year couldn't play, but was just everywhere he could be. The best water boy I've ever had. He's the only water boy I've ever had. Love this boy. All right, Eli. Right here. Athena. Athena is our grace on the team. Like whenever we're just yelling and screaming, she's like, "Calm down, coach." That's up Cam Moody. As Cam's coming up, I would like to do a shameless plug that Cam is the 2023 runner and Tri-River cross country champion. Let's see, Kayvon Torres. We have a Dr. Harrison up here, another got Kevin Williams, give it up for Kevin, Antoine Moore, and then there's some guy left, I don't know, Jonathan Smith, I don't know who that guy is. All right. Thank y'all so much, school board, for this is an awesome gift. We appreciate it very much.
Hey, in case I didn't make it clear before, this is the first time the soccer team has gone to state ever. Ever.
But we really do want to thank you. It's a great honor.
All right, next up, track and field coaches.
Stop.
Coach for track and field.
All right. Oh, no, face. Okay. Gotta get on this side so I can get on the mic. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to get a shout out to the school board for inviting us. Superintendent, Mr. Carter, thank you all again. If you look around, here's my track support. Coach Sumlin, she's my backbone. Not only that, she's my wife. Mr. Collins also came to us about a couple of years ago and been with us, and timekeeper, helped us out a whole lot with the track program. Trainer, Lane, coached him, he ran for me, did a great job, so we brought him back to help train the kids so he can relate, because he's right there at their age, so they can, you know, when I talk to him sometimes, like, coach don't really know. But again, thank y'all for the invite. Track and field is not like the team sport of soccer. We are a team, but we compete a lot as individuals, you know. And this year we had good numbers. We came out, we started with like 23, give or take. 60, she said. So that's why she's my backbone. And we try to get to the kids young, early, so they can get into it and find out what track is really all about. And this year, the 8th graders was a big turnout for us. So next year, we're hoping that they step in as upperclassmen, 9th graders, then they can compete. As 8th graders, they can compete, but we cannot count their scores. And we had some kids, young ladies as well, was running state times and district times, but they couldn't compete because they was 8th graders. So if they come back with us next year, we're looking for big things from them as well. This year, we, as a team, and we did some great things this year. We did some great things. My 4x1 team. Well, first, I already introduced my coaches, right, so they know. All right, my 4x1 team. Can you stand, please? Two are here because they're sophomore, senior. The other two are in college, which is a great thing. Mr. Bailey and Mr. Solomon and Cam. I mean, not Cam. Cashmere.
That's Cam.
Cashmere. They competed at the state level. We're always in there. Every year, we're a competitor. We always right there at the brink. So this year, we were state run-up. Had an opportunity to win it, but we had a couple of flaws, but that happens. And I think the flaw was, and my kids during track season is always graduation for some high schools. So the last 2 years, when we left to go to the track meet, and we have a preliminary that you have to run Friday or you can't compete Saturday, we had to leave 2 young men behind so that they could graduate the night before, which I honor that. I respect that because graduation and education is first. But can I give a shout out while I'm right here to Mr. Phelps? Mr. Phelps, will you please stand? And the reason I'm giving Mr. Phelps a shout out, for the last 2 years, Mr. Phelps has gotten out of his bed 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and have bought the athletes to Jane Madison so they compete on Saturday. So we really appreciate him. We always honor him, and he knows year, before I get to the 100 meters and the 200 meter, Coach, Mr. Phelps saw me and asked me, he said, Coach, what do you think? I said, hey, Mr. Baylor looked good in the preliminaries. In the 100 meters, he looked pretty good. I said, in the 200 meters, he looked pretty good. Chances are, we're right there. So, when the race came up, we ran that 100 meters. Stand up, Mr. Baylor. He ran a personal right now, he is the fastest young man in the state of Virginia and won a 100-meter dash. Give him a hand. Also, we got bragging rights once again. That same young man, Mr. Bailey, in the state of Virginia, is the fastest young man in the 200 meters and represent Franklin well. Mr. Bailey again. So as a track program at Franklin High School, since we, and I'm going to say we because all of them started when I started, but the wife has been with me from the entirety of the coaching establishment. But I say we because we are a team. You know, they asked me about a decision. I said, they come to me and I say, look, whatever we decide as a team, that's what we go with. So as of 2023, we have achieved 14 individual or team conference run-up titles, 8 individual team conference championships, 16 individual or team regionals run-up titles, 8 individual or team regional championships, 8 state run-up titles, and 5 state championships. So give this track team a hand. Again, I just want to say congratulations to my whole track program. All my track people stand up. If I didn't call your name, everybody stand up. So when you come up front, come on up, please. Or as they're coming, our girls team has been, numbers have always been down, but for the first time in the history of track since we've been coaching, we had a 4x4 girls track team, and they placed in the regional this year. Give them a hand.
Putting Are you done? Miss Summer. Oh. Wait, Oh, I'm sorry. Please. Miss Sumner. Move over there to take a picture. Stop. I'll take care of it.
All right, students, I would ask that you stay for just a second. I'm going to change the program around slightly. I'm going to change the program around slightly and ask that the debate team come up next and present their presentation. Ms. Townsend. We just have to give Ms. Davis just a second. She's doing everything.
While they're coming up, I'd like to introduce two city council people that are here, Dr. Johnson, Mr. McLemore, and Mr. McLemore has a distinction because he's the driving force behind the debate team. So thank you, sir.
And before we get started with the presentation, I would like to acknowledge Mr. Frank Davis for sponsoring the trophy for the champion. So please acknowledge Mr. Frank Davis at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks for having us here tonight. I am just here to show a short presentation on the debate team and what we've been up to these past few weeks. My name is Candace Townsend. All right, so I will introduce the team members now. All of our debaters are first-year debaters. They have no experience. We do not have any 8th or 9th graders on our debate team, but I will call everyone's name, and those of you who are here, if you'll please stand up. All right, our 10th graders, Brooke Phelps, Deja Hayes, Marquise Kelly Edwards, Zion Jones, Jaden Reed, Parrish Chapel, Calissa Burnham. All right, our 11th graders, Ahmad McNeil, Kenyon Richardson, Secret White, Montrell Kelly Edwards, Anthony Brown, and Nathaniel Story. Our 12th graders are Dania Rawlings, Bothina Hathan, Latyra Carey, Summer Hill, and Rashonda Hosky.
Some of the names that couldn't hear.
Parrish Chapel, I called. Marquise Kelly Edwards, I called you. Thank you. our numbers grew. Dr. Manley actually stepped in and has been giving assistance. I would like to thank Dr. Manley. And I'd like to thank Dr. Ricks for her assistance and guidance.
So Ms. Townsend, one request before you start.
Sure.
Can you have the debate team come over here
Sure.
and stand? Yes, because you'll be taking a photo shortly. So as Ms. Townsend gives her presentation, come on over in this side. Just curve around the corner, guys. Mr. McLemore, please. Thank you, debate team. Now you can have a seat.
All right, we are so excited, and our students really work hard. They're dedicated. They come to practice. We have a really good time. I just have a short presentation to explain to you the mission. Our mission delves into public speaking, which is an essential part for our students who aspire to become judges, lawyers, or even advocates for the student body. Our goal is to build confident speakers. Here is Summer Hill, and this is an exercise that the students do where they speak with a pen in their mouths, and this exercise helps with diction and enunciation. All right, our timeline here. So this is a glance at our timeline. If you guys can just look at this. So to promote the team, we made flyers, we made announcements, word of mouth, and we utilized the school's social media page. I think majority of our students became interested by word of mouth. Again, we've been having a good time in our meetings. Second page. All right, so this continues with our overview, timeline overview. We're planning to attend a scrimmage on November the 1st. This will give our students an opportunity to witness the different styles of debates, and it will also give them an opportunity to ask questions before we enter into our own debates. Okay, if you can turn. All right, so here we have weekly meetings, weekly discussions. Again, this is an exercise that we're doing in class, again, where she's speaking with a pen in her mouth. This forces them to speak, the pen holds back their tongue, and it forces them to use muscles that they usually wouldn't use when speaking. So this is what she's doing in the picture here. All right, and I am confident that our students are excited. I hear them speaking in the hallways. They're always asking me questions. When are we meeting today? And again, we're having a really, really good time. Any questions?
Can I, Jim?
You're off to a good start.
Yes, we're excited.
Very excited that we have a debate.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Could you please let us know when I didn't get to see that, and when you all have the first debate, the school board will be at a conference. So, if possible, I would like to attend like the scrimmage or your practice debates to see.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I'm excited about that.
Yes.
So please let us know.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Townsend.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Carter. We'll continue with our recognition. This month, our ABCD recipient is actually unable to be here because he is continuing to go above and beyond. The recommendation was, for many years, Mr. Clark has safely and professionally transported students to and from school, athletic practices and games, band practices and events, after-school tutoring, and countless field trips. Because of a shortage of bus drivers, Mr. Clark has done double runs the last couple of years on his morning route. He has driven thousands of miles over the years, transporting our sports and academic teams to their away games, home games, competitions, and practices. Not only does he take our teams to the games, but he supports them from the stands during both at home and on the road. Mr. Clark is a valuable member of our team that is deserving of this recognition. So the October recipient of the ABCD award is Mr. Larry Clark. And so Ms. Blackwell and I are going to meet him tomorrow morning to share his certificate and his gift card. So we will be sure to capture that first thing in the morning. For the Department of Operations, just a few updates. The first is the calendar update. We had our first calendar committee meeting earlier this week, and there is a lot of work that is still left to be done. We're in the process of creating a survey to gather some feedback from all stakeholders, our families, our staff, and our community members regarding our current calendar, and then some considerations that we have as we're looking ahead to the upcoming school year. And so we will be sharing that information with you as soon as the committee has received the survey data and kind of disaggregated that just a bit. As part of our work looking ahead, Ms. Johnson and I had the opportunity to travel to Hopewell and take a look at how their intercession is conducted. So they operate on a balanced calendar, which means that their summer break is a little bit shorter because it inserts some breaks throughout the school year. And during those breaks, teachers offer sessions that may or may not be related to specific SOL standards. And so it's an opportunity for students to really, again, have fun with their learning. And that was really what we were able to see as their presentation of learning over that week of intercession. So what I've done is I've just captured a few images. One of the first places that we saw was a middle school, and in that upper left-hand corner, they were creating comic strips that helped to sequence and telling a story. And that was related to a place that had some particular significance for them. You'll see in the next two, there was a focus on art, both with tie-dyeing t-shirts and in the pictures that were painted. Both of those were actually completed by elementary students. That particular group traveled to Richmond to the museum, so they were able to get a bunch of different experiences during their intercession. Some did have some curricular ties, so on the bottom row, the one on the far left and the one in the center were third graders who were studying ancient Rome, and so they had created some pottery, and then the mosaic that is a reflection of some standards that are taught in third grade related to China. So there are, one more slide, Ms. Davis. These pictures were actually captured at a pre-K center that they have in Hopewell. And so they had an opportunity to explore several different things, and this is just kind of a snapshot of some of the work that they did, learning about fall, participating in fall activities. And I didn't know, Ms. Johnson, before I move on, if you wanted to share about your experience.
Yes, and I will limit it because I could go on and on about this. I was just blown away by these intercessions, and I will counter where he said that not everything was tied to the curriculum. I would say that everything was tied to the curriculum, although some of the sessions were overtly tied to the curriculum, such as learning about, ancient Rome, and, some of them did have direct remediation with math and English. The other ones that appeared to be just fun, like tie-dyeing or baton twirling or, putting some artwork together, they had elements that were tied to the curriculum that we don't normally teach in the classroom because they're not taught or they're not tested on a standardized test, like the oral language skills that we need our children to know, how to communicate with other people. Every student that went to an intercession was present at, or was supposed to be present at, this was part of the intercession. So when we went around to see all of these displays, it wasn't just laid out on a table. There were students behind these tables or circulating in these rooms, and we were able to go up and ask them questions about their projects, and they were able to tell us about these projects. So they were encouraged to be able or encouraged to tell us what they learned. So they had to work on their communication skills. And even the kids in the pre-K classroom, one of the things that really struck me was is they had a big pumpkin and they had scooped some of it out. And you know how kids like to get their hands all gooey and everything. The kids wanted to stick their hands in and get seeds out of the pumpkin. Well, they were allowed to, but if they got seeds out of the pumpkin, they had to take the seeds to an adult that was in the room, and they had to tell the adult about the seeds. So one of the little kids turned around, and I was standing there, and she brought them up to me, and she says, "These are seeds. You can put them in the dirt, and they'll grow a pumpkin." So even still, they still got to play with the seeds, which they thought were fun, but they connected it to learning. So there wasn't one child in any of the schools that we went to. These intercessions were optional learning opportunities, but it didn't matter the age of the child that we spoke to. Every child that we spoke to wanted to be there and were excited to be there and look forward to the other opportunities that they had for other intercessions. So it was like a win all the way around. Like they learned how to work PowerPoints, which they need when they're back in school. They learned how to sequence. They learned how to write. They learned how to speak. And I was just like, these are things that we don't have time for in the regular classroom. And my mind was just spinning. And I was like, oh my gosh, the possibilities. And it was just a magnificent thing to see.
And just to reiterate what Ms. Johnson shared, every child that we interacted with, my question to them was, did you have a good time in intercession? Did you want to be here? And the answer was absolutely yes. And they kept explaining how much fun they were having with what they were learning. So given the option of either staying at home or coming to school, they were choosing to come to school. And that just really, really struck me.
Yes. And I'm sorry, there was one more thing that I noticed. They tried to make field trips available for, to connect some sort of field trip to each of these activities. And one of the activities in the middle school was all about HBCUs. And the kids got to pick an HBCU to research, any HBCU they wanted to in the country, but then they got to visit a couple and then come back. And they got to research what they wanted to about their own HBCU, but it was student-directed learning. But in doing that, they got research skills. They got all this other stuff. And one kid was like, I have family that lives in Mississippi. And another kid was like, I don't have family that lives in this area. So it might not be, it might be more expensive for me to go there, but I might save money because of this. So they were thinking all these different things, but there were field trips connected to all of these different things. And it's just stuff that we don't have time to do during the normal, regular calendar that they're taking advantage of. And it was great.
And that group was a middle school group that's
Yes.
already thinking about the time beyond
right.
high school. So what a great opportunity to begin those thoughts, those aspirations, and the research into those next steps. All right, the Charles Street Gym. We did have a structural engineer come and take a look at the exterior of the building. An estimate that he has just for the work on the exterior of the building is estimated to be in the neighborhood of $1.2 million. That is to address the masonry, the limestone the capstones that really are the site of the water damage, the site of the source of water coming into the building. And just the reminder that the property is valued by the city at about $250,000. So we still have a lot of work to do, a lot of discussions to have regarding what next steps might be regarding Charles Street. We will need to, sooner than later, get a Connex box at least to store the maintenance assets that we have that are stored kind of in the backside of Charles Street. So we're working with the maintenance team to see what the best avenue is for us to pursue those next steps. And we will be bringing a request to the board to surplus some of the materials that remain in the Connex box at SP Morton at an upcoming meeting. For the roof projects, I'm very, very excited to share the elementary school roof phase 1 is complete, and Franklin High School phase 1 is nearing completion. One of the things that Mr. Daniels, who is our roof consultant, has shared with Dr. Carter and me is that he is meticulous and he has exceptionally high standards. So what would have passed with a lot of contractors, he's having the folks that are doing the work go back and make sure that it's done to his specifications, and we definitely appreciate that. Upon completion, the contractors are going to be responsible for an initial sweep of the parking lot, but then I'll also be reaching out to Public Works to request that they also sweep that parking lot to remove any potential debris that might otherwise cause damage to tires. And we look forward to turning that parking lot back over to the faculty and staff at the high school at the end of this month. We are working with our consultant to draft our RFPs for phase 2, and we will be presenting that information in the near future. We are working to consolidate phases 2 and 3 into just phase 2, and our consultant has shared with me that that is going to save us about $500,000 if we're able to make that move. So looking forward to being able to present to you what that RFP looks like in the very near future. Also very excited to share that we received word that Franklin's receiving a security grant that's going to help us to fund 3 school security officers, and those positions are already posted. In just a little bit, you're going to get some information from Ms. Morrison regarding the funding that grant's providing. It's also going to allow us to train our school security officers and purchase additional handheld wands just to continue to ensure that our learning environment is safe and secure. And for City Council, please don't have heart palpitations. This is a needs assessment, okay? And so first, you'll see phase 2 for the roof at the elementary school is going to be approximately $800,000 to $1 million. The roof at the high school is going to be in the neighborhood of 1.6 to 1.8. Based on very early conversations, I anticipate that the elementary school cost is going to be on the lower end of that estimate, and the high school is probably going to be at the upper end of that estimate. We're going to need to move some of our existing HVAC at the high school. That's going to bump up some of the cost. We are working to finish spending our ESSER 3 grant, and so what has already been approved in that grant is restroom renovations at the middle school and the high school. You'll recall that we have already renovated the restrooms at the elementary school, and so we're going to utilize that ESSER funding to make those renovations at our secondary schools possible. Now, this is really where I am just sharing information, and then we're going to need to have some discussion about how to best move forward. We have shared before the need for a shared space for athletics and robotics. We've also shared the need for warehouse, some climate-controlled storage for our materials. After having reached out to an architect to discuss what the draw-up of the plans would look like and an estimate on what those buildings would cost, the shared athletic space and robotic space is going to be approximately $2.2 million. The warehouse was about double what I had originally estimated to be approximately $800,000. And the HVAC replacement at the elementary school is about $1.2 million. Now, you'll see that I say potential carryover. I hope that Ms. Trollinger and Ms. Jarrett don't misunderstand what I'm saying. We're not anticipating a rollover of $4.2 million. But what we're going to look at is using any funding that we have as carryover to assist us in funding these projects. We've got to make sure that our schools are structurally sound, that it's an environment that's safe, that it's an environment where our kids can learn. And we're going to do everything that we can to continue managing the funds that we have, recognizing the situation that we're all in, and that there's not really an opportunity for us to borrow a lot more money. So we are looking to make use of another round of literary loans that will help us accomplish about $2 million worth of work. But there's still a lot that we have to go through, and decisions to be made regarding how we might phase in all of this work so that we can achieve these goals.
And I might add, Dr. Walters, we're also going to try to apply for the construction assistance grant that they've rolled out that will help pay up to 30% of new construction.
So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I just had a clarifying question on that, because I know we looked at that grant before, but it was for brand new buildings, and that was just way too much. So it doesn't matter what size you're asking for, it's 30% of whatever that is?
Right. Well, with the new school grant, they granted more money. But if you're going to do other renovation projects or smaller projects, then it's at 30%.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know.
So it is based on our composite index, our ability to fund public schools. And so based on that, Dr. Carter and I feel confident that we would qualify for funding of 30% of the project, whatever the project is. And so that's going to be another avenue that we take a look at. He and I were in a Zoom with BDOE just today regarding that.
I have a question about the slide previous to this,
Yes, ma'am.
about the resource officers.
Sure.
I think in years past we had funding, or there were grants for resource officers, but there were problems with staffing because there were shortages of officers for the city. So these are SSOs and not SROs. I think that's the difference. Is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what that is?
So this is not, this position is separate from an SRO.
Okay, that's what I was looking for
Yes,
clarification.
ma'am.
Okay, gotcha.
The grant could fund SROs as well, but we appreciate the relationship that we have with the Franklin Police Department and with Officer Martinez, and we recognize that they have staffing issues as well. Not wanting to compete with them, but wanting to do things that we can do on our side of things, and so we decided to pursue the SSO. And these are going to be unarmed individuals. We didn't feel like that was in our best interest at this point. So moving forward with security officers in each of the schools.
Gotcha. So we're not pulling from resources that the city may need or?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
On the robotics building, is that going to be more like the football weight room, or is it going to be more substantial or more like a Butler building? What's our plan there?
That, the best way to visualize that is probably similar to that auxiliary gym that we have as a weight room right now.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to visualize it. I'm trying to work with the architects on whether or not like a steel structured building could be an option and how that might impact. And so I need to get some clarity from them on that estimate. But that was the information that they shared based on the specifications that I had given them to work with.
Great. Thank you.
Certainly.
And just out of curiosity, is it possible, like for some building, or is that something they looked at to possibly do like a split building where one side is higher than another, so that energy costs could be kept, to a minimum where because I know robotics would need a higher ceiling, whereas athletics wouldn't need the higher ceiling. So, you wouldn't need,
Sure. That's definitely something for us to pass along to the architect. I think that's something that they could work with. Any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Wallace.
All right.
Good
So,
job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dr. White?
Good evening again, board. Tonight I bring to you 3 policies. The first is policy GBEC, and that's the tobacco products and nicotine vapor products. Those are being revised for cross-references, so the references are being updated. I also bring to you policy JEA, compulsory attendance, and this policy is being revised to include requirements of Virginia Code. It's being updated with the legal references, and also we are adding a portion that pertains to Franklin City Public Schools. So when you're looking at the red line and looking at the black line policy, you will notice that we have added a section concerning attendance in various modalities to include remote learning or remote assignments. Also, policy JFC, student conduct, and this policy is being updated to reflect Amendment Virginia Code. It's also being updated regarding notification of bullying allegations and regarding notification by the principal when a student's conduct is likely to result in suspension or a filing of a court petition. So tonight, again, I bring those policies to you as a first read. The policies are located in this link, the red line, the strike-through version, and the black line master. Any questions? Alrighty.
So we will have a second reading next month, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If that is. All right, any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Medicaid is primarily a state program, and it requires both a financial need for medical assistance and the clinical need to have those services. And for the state Medicaid program, federal oversight is provided by Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, commonly referred to as CMS. And the state programs are based on a CMS-approved state plan. We've recently had a state plan amendment that will allow us to seek reimbursement for not only exceptional education students with an IEP, but also any Medicaid eligible student. So there's a real opportunity to recover our costs. Now, Department of Medical Assistance Services administers the Medicaid program, commonly referred to as DMAS. And DMAS has contracted with University of Massachusetts as far as the technical aspects of the billing, collections, and cost reporting functions. This is a quote from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services recently in response to the state plan amendment. And I included that here because I thought it was important. The school setting offers a unique opportunity to enroll children in Medicaid and facilitate access to coverage, as well as provide health services directly to any Medicaid-enrolled children. Schools provide a venue to enhance early identification of health needs and connect students to a broad range of healthcare services, including behavioral health resources. So these are the types of services that school divisions can submit claims for. The occupational, physical, and speech therapy that are historically given to exceptional education students, any nursing services or behavior or psychological services, and even the transportation related to these services can all be billed to Medicaid and reimbursed. In order to get reimbursement for these services, there are documentation requirements, and the documentation must be auditable, because if we go through an audit and we don't have the documentation, Medicaid will recoup the funds that we've been provided. So there must be a diagnosis, a treatment plan, interventions, goals, progress notes, and student logs. So the process is, first we provide and document the services to the students. Then we have an interim billing process where, based on the documented utilization of the Medicaid services, we can submit quarterly claims for reimbursement. Our MTS is Random Moment Time Study. Those time studies are done, and depending on how the school-based employees fill out these random moment time studies, that could impact our reimbursement as a district as well as all districts in the state. After that's completed, there is a cost report that determines the ultimate reimbursement, and there's a settlement process where they compare the total allowable cost from the cost report to all of the interim claims we've submitted and pay us the difference. And we have engaged the assistance of a part-time Medicaid coordinator who is currently a Medicaid coordinator for another district and is very experienced in all of the Medicaid requirements for reimbursement. And she's really hit the ground running, so I do anticipate our Medicaid reimbursements increasing. And this is just some of the many acronyms that are involved in the Medicaid program. Any questions about the Medicaid in Schools program? Okay, then I'll move right into the September financial report. For September, 25% of the year had gone by, and we've collected 21% of our revenues and expended 19% of our expenditures. And again, operations and maintenance and technology had some upfront back-to-school type expenditures that we would expect to be front-loaded. Not much activity in the textbook fund as yet. For nutrition fund, we've expended 9% of our budget. That's because summer school was relatively low in cost, and the revenue is only at 3% because, as I stated, the summer is low, and we don't file for reimbursement for September, July, August, and September until August, September, and October. This is our federal grants, and the revenue has not come in as fast as the expenses have gone out, primarily because of having to fund the roof in anticipation of the city refunding us those funds. And this is overall. Again, primarily because of the roof. Questions on the financials for September? Okay. The next 4 slides are the September 2023 vouchers. Ms. Davis, if you could go through those. Questions on the vouchers? That's it. And the next presentation I have is concerning the pay scale for our teachers' assistants. Our goal is to recruit and retain the best possible talent in our district. So currently the salary scale starts at $18,900 and moves to $24,238. for our paraprofessional staff. And we propose to move the beginning minimum to $24,238 through a maximum of $27,231 to be competitive with surrounding districts. The annual impact of that to the general fund would be $39,000. There are 9 employees that would be impacted, and we propose to start this on November 1st. And I would recommend that the board at this time approve this salary scale change.
I move to approve this.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. You're so convincing.
You can believe me. The last thing I wanted to go over is I have 5 budget amendments for consideration. Okay, and the first one is for our Project Hope grant, our McKinney-Vento grant that I mentioned on our July 20th meeting. This increases expenditures and revenues by $3,900 that we were granted, and I propose that this be accepted as presented. Lump them together. Okay. The second one is for Title II. Our Title II grant was recently approved, and it was approved at $9,502.66 higher than we anticipated. So this would be to increase the revenues and expenditures accordingly. The next one is Dr. White, Dr. Carter were instrumental in getting us a $50,000 grant for the balanced calendar studies and the impact that that would have on the school year. So this would be to increase expenditures and revenues for that grant.
I noticed that there was an account attached to that. Do we have to have an account attached to that in order to approve that?
I am currently awaiting the city's account codes, and then based on those account codes, we'll assign our own account codes. But the city, when the city receives these, they're going to know that the account codes need to go on them. So I would think it could be approved. Okay, the next one. This one, Dr. Walters just mentioned. This is a Stronger Connections grant intended to fund the school security officers. That is $227,933.50. And I'm asking to increase revenues and expenditures. Okay. And the last one is, as a result of the governor's approving the budget recently, he has funded this All In Virginia campaign, and we were awarded $670,617 for that, and with some very specific assigned categories that it needs to be spent in. Okay, and for these 5 budget amendments, I'll then recommend that they be approved as presented.
I just had a question. I saw All in Virginia in 2 of them. Are they on 2 different account codes? Is that why they're on 2? Because wasn't the first one All in Virginia? Or the second one, I'm sorry. This one. No, that was.
Oh, that should be Project Hope, typo.
So do we need to change that then?
Yes, you need to strike that one, change, pull out that one.
I read this morning that only 28 school divisions out of 131 have applied for their all-in-one money. So they may come back and offer us more, hopefully. But for those that don't know, that's tuition money for kids. So that's a good program if we get good tutors.
Can we approve this with a notation that the typo needs to be corrected? Then that doesn't have to come back through?
You can.
I just think that might make it easier for everybody. So I would move to approve these 5 with the correction on the number 1, the first one, as noted. Is that specific enough?
That's good. Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I have a really quick question on the SSO money and SRO money. Can any of that be used as part of the conversation with the funding with the police and using the security offices for different school events?
Okay,
Dr.
so
Walters.
yeah, that's
Thank you. Or is
so,
that?
so that's totally separate,
Okay.
but I'll go ahead and just answer. So those who are saying, "What are you talking about?" The police chief has described that for the past 3 years they have been funding the security, and so it's tapping into their budget for the games. And so we will have a discussion in a meeting with the city manager and the chief of police regarding how the security officers can be used to help the strain on the budget. Because as he explained to me, it's $41 an hour, and they usually have multiple officers that must be assigned. They never do it just one officer.
And we are looking to be able to shift the school security officers' day on days where there are athletic events where they'll be able to support with those after-school activities. So I think it's going to be kind of a braided solution. The school security officer will be a part of that. I think it's likely that the school resource officer or other officers provided by the police department would also be a part of that conversation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, Tracy.
Mr. Holt, that concludes my superintendent's report.
We still need to vote. Did you vote? I didn't hear vote. I'm sorry. So it's all?
Yeah.
Yes. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you. Business by school board members. I have a couple items. Due to the holidays in November and December, the next board meeting will be November the 9th, and it will be in here, a regular meeting. The December meeting will be on the 14th,
No.
No.
10th, 7th, I'm sorry.
November 9th and December 7th.
A comment on citizens' time. The last meeting we had, there was some confusion about the protocol and the rules and the regulations. So we sent our policy to our school board attorney, who is working on a draft to make it more clear to both speakers and board members. And we expect that to be back soon, so hopefully we will have that. In the meantime, if someone has a question or an issue, always go to the principal at a school. If it's about a school, go to the superintendent. If it's about a superintendent, you can go to a board member. Board members, do you have anything?
I move to adjourn. Are we there? I should say thanks to everybody for everything that everybody does. I know there's
I was going to move to adjourn.
You are. Is that all you got? I mean,
It is. Oh, and volleyball won last night.
we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We're adjourned.